Grandmother's secret photo album reveals her double life to her family. Johnny Quan always wondered what kind of life his grandmother had lived. She forbade her family from going through her photo albums, making Johnny believe she was keeping some deep, dark secret. But at 93 years old, she passed away, leaving her photo albums to Johnny and his family. Did he dare go through the books and uncover what she'd spent a lifetime trying to hide? Grandma Liang Ping. Though Johnny Quan was shattered by his grandmother's passing in February 2020, he knew the 93-year-old lived a long, happy life. Since his grandma Liang Ping, who also went by Teresa Liang, was a very private woman, he always wondered if she was hiding something. Love for the arts. Liang Ping grew up in China before eventually moving to and retiring in San Francisco, where the rest of the family also lives. Johnny, who resides in the Bay Area, works as a freelance artist and teacher and connects his love for the arts to his grandmother. A gifted musician. It was no secret that Grandma Liang was a gifted musician, as she'd occasionally sing and play piano at family gatherings. But this was the extent of what Liang Ping revealed to her family, which always left Johnny wanting more. When I go. While Liang Ping would let Johnny and the rest of his family flip through some of her photo albums, she had several that were always off limits. A frustrated, curious Johnny pried, begging his grandmother to see the secret albums, to which she replied, "You can see them when I go." Shanghai's Golden Age. And when Liang Ping finally did go of natural causes, her family read through the behind-the-scenes chapters of her story. The album held photos that highlighted her life during the Golden Age of Shanghai, a time of prosperity and growth. A record deal. After studying at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music, she was signed to Path Records, which was later taken over by EMI Group. The blooming talent signed her first record deal in 1942 at just 15 years old. Trained in Shidaika. The singer and musician was formally trained in Shidaika, a genre of fusion music originating in Shanghai in the 20s. It combines aspects of Chinese folk music with jazz instrumentals, creating a unique hybrid sound. Shidaika vocals are sung in high-pitched, almost babyish tones, one that requires a skilled voice. Performing across Shanghai, Johnny and the family were dumbfounded to discover she recorded music and performed in nightclubs across Shanghai in the 1930s. Wooing the mesmerized Western businessmen who often attended her shows with hits like Spring Does Not Come, My Youthful Days, and Wang Zhaojun, Liang was a star. But her life was not without low points. Political ruins. At the end of World War II, China endured a brutal civil war between the Communist Party of China and the Nationalist Party, the Kuomintang. Chaos at the end of the 40s made it difficult for China's people to prosper, as foreign business and investments declined rapidly. Fleeing Shanghai. After a costly battle in 1949, the government lost control of Shanghai to the Communists, forcing Liang and her family to flee to Hong Kong, a place many Chinese people were looking to as refuge. Yellow music. Escaping the political debacle in Shanghai was necessary for Liang's career. See, the modern style of music that made her famous was deemed yellow music, as it contained materialistic nods that were looked down on by the communist government. A cultural sanctuary. In Chinese, yellow is a pun for pornographic, Johnny stated. Thankfully, Hong Kong in the 50s celebrated controversial arts and culture, making it a perfect place for Liang, a famous Shidiku star, to thrive. Meeting Sir Run Run Shaw. After a short run in Hong Kong, Liang and her family moved to Singapore, where she met philanthropist and entertainment legend Sir Run Run Shaw. Aside from his immense influence in Asian entertainment, pioneering kung fu films, he also co-produced certain American films like 1982's sci-fi masterpiece, Blade Runner. Welcoming Liz Taylor. Sir Run Run Shaw saw something in Liang Ping, so when classic Hollywood superstar Elizabeth Taylor visited Singapore in November 1957, he asked Liang to be one of the representatives of the Singaporean entertainment industry to welcome Liz Taylor. Famous faces. Though Johnny and the family knew somewhat of Liang's fame in China, they thought it was quite niche and underground. They had no idea she partied with American stars like Elizabeth Taylor and legendary contralto singer Marianne Anderson. These prominent interactions only made Liang more famous in Asia. International model. And that fame took her places, like international beverage advertisements. German beer brand Beck made Liang the face of one of its ads, showing her accepting a beer off a platter while sporting a sleek black dress with a slit up the leg. Miss Universe. But with every page Johnny turned, more surprises followed, amazingly, according to a tucked-away newspaper clipping. Liang also competed in the first-ever Miss Universe pageant in 1952, and while her career in the entertainment, music and modeling industries was important, Liang had one other strong passion: a new life. In the midst of her growing fame and cultural influence, Liang got married and became a mother. After more than 3 decades of success, she decided to immigrate to the U.S., thinking her children and future grandchildren may find greater opportunity there. San Francisco was their new home. Performing in the States. Because Liang Ping was a strong, zealous woman, she continued to pursue singing in America despite not speaking English fluently, and even gave music lessons. Though she was most eminent in Asia, Liang was invited to perform for adoring audiences in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, along with Canada and Australia. Celebrating her legacy. Johnny and his family were flabbergasted at the rich history Grandma Liang Ping's photo albums held. She hid so much from them, and though they'll never know the reason as to why, they'll forever celebrate her legacy and look up to her as a role model. She followed her dreams and let nothing stop her from shining. Living on the edge. We don't typically view our elderly grandparents as these adventurous, audacious beings, whether or not they were like that in their previous life as Liang Ping was. But it was this waltz with the wild that fueled 97-year-old Ingeborg Neufeld.